And coming to you live, coming out here from the K. Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center over here in Dallas, Texas. We are here, finally here, for the offline segment of ESL Masters Spring over here at DreamHack Dallas. I'm, of course, your host, Yagu of the Zaku, and with me today is El Vaquero en el Salón que aparece una hora antes del mediodía, like _VIP. How we doing, like?
What's up, Yaku? What's up? Welcome back, everyone, to ESL Masters Spring. We're finally here at DreamHack Dallas. We're not here, but we're here to bring you as much of the open stage as we can.
It feels like we're here.
We're basically embracing, NA right now. We're going full Texas, if you will, and hope people will enjoying yourselves. I apologize for the stream going up a little bit earlier than we thought. We had no idea. We had no idea that the event was started. The event started an hour ago, but the open stage is starting up just now, and we were a little bit in the dark as of that. We weren't fully aware of that, so stream went live a little bit early, but now we're here. Now we're back.
Now we're here. Now we're ready to rumble in a little bit of a rodeo that I like to call the open bracket.
Exactly. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys don't have a look at the bracket yourselves. But I believe Wikipedia is down, or at least there's some maintenance going on. It should be coming back soon. So do not panic, do not fret. The event will still be going on, and I'm sure Wikipedia will be back soon.
Yeah. Just a routine little, well, I don't want to say a shutdown, but it is going up for maintenance, so we will be having that back. We will be able to take a lovely little look at those brackets, but fret not, for we have our memories, and we have been looking at the bracket quite a bit. So as we promised, we're going to be starting here with the first two groups of the open bracket, A and B. Here on this stream, we're going to be casting a lovely little TvP between Kelazhur and Rhizer. I believe Steadfast is going to be covering the second group. It's going to be Rogue and Solar, from what I remember.
Yeah. Oh, no, I just refresh. No, why did I refresh? I forgot. I forgot, Bobby. I forgot. I just pressed the refresh button and I've lost it. I lost it all. Yes, as you were saying, I believe there are two side streams at the moment. There's the main stream, the B stream, and then we have the C and D stream in a way, with ourselves and Steadfast. We did message Steadfast ahead of time, or I did slip into those DMs, and Steadfast is going to be covering Group B, so we will be covering Group A instead.
Indeed. A little bit of an interesting seeding that we've had in at least our first two groups coming up here. Group B specifically is the ZVP group. So we mentioned Solar and Rogue are going to be facing off there, and I believe the first four matches in that group are literally ZVZ, PvP, ZVZ, PvP. So no matter what, it's going to go into a PvZ regardless over there. Here, it's a little bit more diverse, if you will. We have we have two Protoss players, one Zerg player, and just trying to make sure the math is correct, and everyone else is a Terran player from, again, my memory.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna be covering Group A. For those that are curious, we have we have top tier players like Ryung in here, Futures here as well, Gumiho, alongside some of the others that we're gonna be covering. Players like Kelazhur, Rhizer, Creator, alongside. Oh, who's Creator playing against? Do you remember?
I believe it's
Epic.
Future. Epic. No, yeah, it was Epic.
Yeah.
The other NA Terran player.
Exactly. So a lot of Terran and Protoss, as you can imagine, in Group A. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Steadfast is going to be covering the PvZ group instead.
Yeah. It's going to be how it goes down, both of them happening simultaneously. Later on, we're going to go into the Group C and Group D, again, being played out simultaneously. And we'll also try to spread that out. We'll try to arrange things with our other casters that we have to maximize the range of coverage that we have in these lovely matches.
Exactly. We'll do our best to kind of spread out and to split up and to make sure they don't kind of like tread on each other's toes and cast as much of this as we can. When it comes to Group C and D, some people were asking earlier when they were going to be covered. After these initial groups. So after Group A and B, then there's going to be a bit of a break, a bit of a lull, and then we'll be diving into C and D thereafter, and that'll be our broadcast for the day, just covering the entirety of the open stage.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's very scheduled out this time. We have day number 1 here today is going to be entirely the open stage. Tomorrow, day number 2, it's going to be entirely the knockout bracket. Some of that's going to be on the mainstream as well. I say some of that. All of the qualifying matches in that knockout bracket are going to be on the mainstream as well. So we're also going to be covering those early stages, but it's not going to be as long of a day. And day number 3 is going to be nothing but the playoffs. Quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the grand finals.
Exactly, a big weekend of StarCraft, 3 days straight. As Yaku mentioned, we are going to be casting 2 of those 3 days, day 1 and day 2. Day 3, we won't be able to cast, but we can co-stream. We can have a bit of a viewing party and just tune in to the mainstream and, add our little bit of insights, tidbits, cheer for players and have a good time. So that's also another possibility for us. We'll see if we do embrace that or not. Otherwise, we're going to be focusing on our upcoming matches here. We did kind of gloss over it, but it's a part of the Twitch title. Our first series should be Kelazhur versus Rhizer.
In the 2 players who are very active, pretty much staples, I would say, of the NA scene at this point. Every, ESL regional, most of the online cups as well, even some of the more other somewhat small LAN events like Cheesadelphia, you'll usually find one of them showing up and playing around and having a good time.
Yeah, and Kelazhur's a player that I've been keeping my eye on for the past year. Kelazhur, he kind of I don't know if I want to say he stepped away from the game, but in years past he was on Team Liquid, he was over in the land of Europe as well, and I mean he was maintaining his form, to be fair, but I don't know what it is, but after leaving Team Liquid, he really did just hammer down and just grind. He was playing a lot, competing a lot, and it feels like he's been really improving quite a bit, especially in the NA region this past year of play.
Yeah, I don't think it's that controversial now to say that Kelazhur is arguably, at the very least, top 2 when it comes to the Americas region combined. I would say nowadays probably the best player from Latin America, now that Special has taken a little bit of a break, a little bit of a step back.
Yeah. I think that was a surprising thing, because I feel like when we think of the Americas region, we think of like Australia and Scarlet and Trigger. Like they're top 3. Like for a very long time, they've been like settled into top 3. Back when Neeb was around, like he was up there. He was at the top of them, of course. But Neeb did since retire. But it was this past year where Kelazhur, he had a surprising run in the regionals, even contending against Australia, against Max Angel. Didn't bring him down. I don't think we would say he's number 1, but I think I would say that he's the best Terran in the Americas region currently. Before this past season, I would have maybe said future, but Kelazhur did surprise quite a bit.
Yeah, please don't ask me to remember what the result is. Wikipedia's still a little bit. Wikipedia's still not quite back yet. But yeah, Kelazhur, like you said, has just been grinding a lot in this past year. Again, not really sure what it was. I know that a little while ago he did say that he was going to focus a little bit more on IRL things. He was a little bit more busy with his studies, with things of that nature. But this past couple of years, right? Not sure what it is, but I guess he is just continuing to carry that torch for Latin America.
Oh yeah, is going to be carrying that torch, and oh boy, we'll see how far he can go. Again, the open stage is brutal, by the way. There are so many top tier players in the open stage, and only 2 make it out of each group. We mentioned before that in this group we have Future, we have Epic, we have Creator, we have Kelazhur, Ryung, Gumiho. So many amazing players, and only 2 will make it out. It is brutal. It's going to be a bloodbath.
We'll make it out into the knockout stage, which is also a little bit of a brutal match there, because then you don't just have to compete with all of the other players from the open bracket, who are some fantastic players themselves, but you also have to compete with some of the absolute best of the best players from the winner stage, who didn't quite qualify for the playoffs yet from there. ESL Masters, it is a brutal format coming down.
Oh, it is a brutal format indeed, and we can gloss over that, but for now, we have a Love G Poppy. Oh my god. It's gonna be, we've had quite a bit of downtime here, but
it's been years.
It's been years, but it's great to finally be getting ready to dive into a series.
Yes. Just trying to make sure that, yep, we have our logos mod coming down.
Mm-hmm. We're good. We're just gonna be rehosting a little bit. But yes, if you're out there, if you've been hungry for some StarCraft, then don't you worry. The StarCraft is coming soon. Again, we apologize for the downtime, but you know it's a live event, and all the players are getting their setups ready. You know, like measuring, you know, the distance between the keyboard and the edge of the desk. You know, like adjusting their seats and setting up hotkeys. It's a process.
Changing, switching from metric to imperial.
True. What do they use in America? It's like, do they pound in America? What do they do?
They do use pounds. They use feet.
They
do
feet.
pound.
They feed.
They feet. They pound the feet.
Let's go. You can work. Okay, can play players.
I got Kelazhur.
Yeah,
beautiful.
In sync, Poppy, in sync. But yes, if you're in the chat, we're soon going to be diving into our first series. The winner of this series advances on to face off against the winner of Creator and Epic. So we're going to be following these players into their next series. And we mentioned it earlier briefly, but Steadfast is also casting Group B, if you're curious. And I believe he's going to be covering Rogue versus Solar.
Yeah, then going to be continuing that over, much like we're going to be casting our TvP here, Kelazhur versus Rhizer, and then we'll follow the winner of this into the winner of, I believe, Creator Epic, if my memory serves.
Yeah, and then that'll be leading into, you know, either Ryung, Future, Gumiho, or some of the other players up there as well. So, yeah, we have a full lineup ready for us, and we're diving into our first series. Finally, we're diving into Oceanborn.
Let's go. And here we have it, spawning into Oceanborn, over here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left. We, of course, have our red Terran player coming down from, I believe, Norway, but, of course, representing the land of Brazil. Also going to be representing his team R8. We have Kelazhur.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the purple Protoss player representing Team License to Kill, LTK. It is Rhizer.
I don't think I've mentioned this before, but every time I see Kelazhur's team, I want to pronounce it as Rate.
Rate?
Yeah, Rate.
Yeah, I get that. I understand.
It's Leet language, Leet code, if you will.
Zoomer talk. I see. Yeah. But we spoke about it earlier. Again, Kelazhur's been improving quite a lot. Likewise, Rhizer has also been on that grind set as well. There hasn't been as much of a limelight on him as of late, but it's great to see Rhizer traveling, competing, a part of this event as well. And I'm excited to see what he has to offer here against a player of the caliber of Kelazhur.
Yeah, my eyes are definitely more on Rhizer because of that. He is going to be the underdog coming into this matchup, and I'm sure he has a couple of things planned here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does as well. For now, it's going to be standard openers. Even from the side of Kelazhur, it's going to be a double gas opener. Now, if I remember correctly, especially in the qualifiers for DreamHack Spring, the regionals and the main event itself, Kelazhur is actually quite an aggressive player in this matchup. I wouldn't say as aggressive as like Coffee or anything like that, but still very two-base heavy. It was a little bit surprising, and it caught me off guard when we did cast him in the TvPs, where we would see a lot of all-ins and a decent amount of pulling the boys.
Yeah, pretty major shakeup, I would say, compared to the Kelazhur of old, who, when I think of Kelazhur, I think of that drop player, right? The player who is more than comfortable going up to 3 bases, going to the mid-game against his Protoss opponents, and just relying on drop play to stretch their attention, the Protoss player's attention, and just pick them apart slowly but surely.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see the evolution of Kelazhur over these past couple of years, and we'll see which kind of Kelazhur we see this time. As we do see the CC on the high ground, again, it's not going to be a one base all-in. We are going to be expanding here towards that low ground, and we have our tech of choice. It is not a Twilight count.
Oh, interesting. So we're going to be seeing a Stargate come into play. Still pretty standard. I know a lot of the Protoss players have been experimenting a little bit with things like Robo Play, a little bit earlier of a Robo Bay, but Rhizer is a little bit more orthodox by the looks of things, is still going to be going into, I imagine, Phoenixes. Yep, there we go.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Phoenix production has begun for Rhizer. Meanwhile, Kelazhur has yet to really confirm, dips into the natural base, gets a kill or two, but is going to pull back and doesn't quite commit yet. And I believe Kelazhur has yet to really confirm the tech of choice either, has yet to get behind the mineral line.
Yeah, not quite yet. Really good positioning on these Adepts coming out from Rhizer, preventing this Reaper from getting into position, but that's what the mine drop is for.
That is going to be for that mine drop here. As you mentioned, it's going to be to scatter our opponents. I'm curious if we go with Marines as well, or just the Widowmine, and we have our answer. It's just going to be the one Widowmine moving out across the map. This is less designed to get damage done, more designed to scout.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, a little bit of a double mine drop coming down from Kelazhur. Like you said, you're not looking to get major damage. That's usually what a triple drop would be aiming for. Little bit of a misstep from Kelazhur with this CC, a little bit out of position, and because of that, Rhizer shows up. He's going to be able to block that for a little while.
And he does block it. Meanwhile, at the same time, Mine Drop comes in, but we lift up both of the Widowmines. We shut down the medevac as well, but at least we scout our opponent, but we don't get any value here. That was a nice cleanup by Rhizer.
Yeah, you can tell he's been doing his homework. He was absolutely prepared for this. He had everything in position, and aside from defending back at home, he was also able to, with that Adept, not only delay the natural base from landing, but also catch eyes on the Marine count here. It does confirm that Kelazhur wants to go for a bit of an earlier push.
Yeah, Stim is already on the way for Kelazhur. It's going to be a 3-1-1 setup here from our Terran players, so we're building up quite a bit towards that eventual Stim timing. When it comes to being ready for the drop, we did notice earlier that the drop was actually spotted by the Adepts as it was moving out across the map, and with that, they're able to be so ready for it at the same time. We do get into the mineral line.
Yeah, nice couple of pickoffs here on these Phoenixes. More importantly, he confirms a double tech lab. He confirms the barracks count coming out from Kelazhur. And he knows that Stim, combat shield, everything is on the way. He needs to be prepared for to defend, and defend.
Oh yeah, and how do we defend? It's going to be with Phoenix Colossus as one more SCV goes down here at the natural base. Phoenixes so far, they are standing tall, standing strong, and the Colossus production is on the horizon. We do go for a safety immortal. Before that does occur, Kelazhur is poised as well to go for some auto-target harassment here towards the main base as we pick off another Marine.
Yeah, not too bad. Good, decent control coming out from Rhizer so far, not losing a single one of his Phoenixes. It's a little bit trickier to control and micro your Phoenixes. You know, you have to pick up units individually. It's not quite like Oracles.
Yeah, it can be a little bit tricky there, and it also forces you to be stationary as well, so you're a little bit more vulnerable to whatever does try to focus you down. Thankfully, there has not been Stim to worry about, but Stim is finishing up in a couple of seconds, and with the completion of Stim, or as we catch the Observer, we should be able to break out.
Yeah, auto-tart harass from Kelazhur, going to be able to catch a couple of probes, delay mining by a little while. And here comes that push that we were talking about.
Yeah, Stim is now done. Tanks are moving out across the map as well. We're so far keeping the boys back at home, but regardless of very committed push, we do catch the Phoenixes! Ooh.
Catch one, we catch two Phoenixes. And that's going to be a little bit of an issue coming down. Phoenixes have a lot of crowd control potential that you really want to utilize against tanks and Widowmines.
Yeah, exactly. And here we go, Kelazhur rushing on forward. The Immortal is out. The first Colossus does pop out just in time. We have the shield button. We have an overcharge as well. That one tank is going to do a lot of damage in the back line, but do we have enough to break Rhizer?
We may barely have enough. We don't have any Marauders out just yet. So this Colossus can still get a lot of damage done, but that's still a very hefty Marine count. And not a whole lot of units on the ground here for Rhizer.
Yeah, the tank
not a whole lot of units on the air either.
Yeah, the tank is going to go down, but as you mentioned, because the Phoenixes were reset in a way, we can drop into the main base. Not enough anti-air to stop this from happening. Marines are popped in. We force a recall.
Yeah, Colossus coming in, but it's a naked Colossus. Not quite gonna be able to catch those Marines. Phoenixes are catching the medevacs on retreat. They will be able to take out one of them. Rhizer is on the way to defend, and it looks like Kelazhur has just run out of momentum. Rhizer will be able to deflect this and keep his high-tech units alive.
Yeah, pretty impressive, not gonna lie here. Like, Rhizer doesn't really lose much at all. He bled out how many, like, a couple, to be fair, like 9 probes in total, but Rhizer still has that edge with that third base and is now moving out with an even larger Colossus army. Third Colossus is on the horizon here for Rhizer, and Kelazhur, the pressure is on to try to pull Rhizer apart.
Yeah, there's no... The third CC for Kelazhur is just about to land, but I have a feeling that Kelazhur doesn't want this game to go on for too much longer.
Yeah, so we have the Otis Hearts here at the natural base. We get a kill on the pylon here in the center of the map. We're going for a bit of a tri-pronged attack. Raven towards the natural, drop into the main, and the main army pushing towards the third.
Yeah, Rhizer starting to get his attention stretched a little bit. He has to prioritize. He'll be splitting up his Colossus. Widowmine's going to be able to catch a couple of Stalkers, but not much else beyond that. Meanwhile, the Marines and the Auto Turrets are able to get a whole ton of probes.
Yeah,
that advantage Rhizer had earlier on, that economic advantage he had, has pretty much been diminished.
Yeah, Kelazhur now up in workers, now up in supply as a result, and Kelazhur's damage hasn't been good enough. He hasn't killed Rhizer, he hasn't been able to deal some crippling damage yet, but he has hindered the economy, and Kelazhur now takes a supply lead, quite a supply lead from that.
And with that lead, we're getting into the next phase of our tech here. Kelazhur going to be getting more starports, going to be getting more flying units, Vikings and whatnot to deal with this. Rhizer gonna try to switch into High Templar, but when his economy is this low, it's gonna take him a while to really get that final form.
It really is, and we'll see if he can get there. If he can survive long enough, drop into the main base. This time we have side defense, cannon, and the shield battery, and an overcharge, so Rhizer does hold on. He is fortifying himself quite nicely on this 3-base setup, but 3-base versus 3-base, not a place you want to be here as a Protoss player. You need to expand, you need that fourth, as he tries to. Kelazhur is here to deny him.
And this is the Kelazhur I remember. The Kelazhur who roams around with medevacs, who goes for those tri-pronged attacks and whatnot. Nice to see that he still, has it in him, despite going for a lot more all-ins in the past couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, even this game was a little bit more aggressive, but he was able to transition out of it, right? He was able to get into his third base, it's fully saturated, and his macro is still just getting higher and higher, or getting out of control as we speak. Rise is still trying to keep up, and Storm is on the way, but it's still just started. We need time.
Yeah, we need time, we need money, we need just about every resource available right now if we're Rhizer. We don't have any ghosts just yet, but like you said, when the High Templar are up in low enough numbers, it doesn't take much to just avoid them. Very good pickoff here from Kelazhur, taking a Disruptor for free. Warpism will go down. 1 High Templar will be able to get out. So there's 3 available, and okay, there's a decent number of storms that Rhizer will have.
Yeah, but those are massive, expensive pickups here, and Rhizer still does not have Storm. He cannot really contend too much against the army. There is a chance, though, even being down in supply, if we can land a couple of Novas, if we can land a juicy Storm, then maybe we can take a fight. The problem here is Kelazhur's army composition. That's a lot of Vikings and a lot of Marauders. We can tank some Storms.
Yeah, we even have 3 Ghosts here, which should be enough EMPs to just completely wipe out the energy of these High Templar and take out the shields of everything else. But like you said, it might not even come to that.
It might not. I mean, Storm is done. That is a lot of High Templar. I'm worried they're quite bunched up, actually. So, the feedbacks do connect.
Yeah, only 1 ghost left. No ghosts remaining that have any energy on them. Storm has finished up. And we are about to throw a couple of zoning storms down, but that's still a lot of beef in this Terran army. And the Vikings will land behind. GG is called. Kelazhur going to take game number 1.
GG, well played, as Kelazhur does end up pulling Rhizer apart. Again, wasn't able to completely kill him with the multi-pronged harassment, but was killing workers, sniping key units, and expanding behind it. Rhizer was stuck at home. Despite initially going for the Phoenixes and getting into Colossus production, Rhizer was stuck at home almost the entire game, was not able to really harass outside of the early game in Game 1.
Yeah, it really feels like Rhizer was doing a really good job of defending. Until he wasn't. He was able to, defend against the mine drop, just immediately pick that off. He was able to deflect the initial push from Kelazhur without losing anything, really, without losing any of his Colossus, without taking too much economic damage. But then we started to get into the mid-game. Then Kelazhur had that triple prong attack. Then Kelazhur was just hitting from every single angle, and eventually it was too much for Rhizer to keep up with.
Oh yeah, it was too much in the end, and we'll see if we can have some better luck as we load into game number 2. This is going to be an interesting one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool, but it's not vetoed in this best of 3. I'm excited. We're going to be loading into Dynasty.
I think that has to be emphasized once again, like, this best of 3. Our players had 6 vetoes, or 3 vetoes each, I guess. 6 in total, and neither of them decided to veto this map. Oh
yeah, that is wild. That is crazy. We're going to be loading into Dynasty with some very unique features, some very unique aspects of this map. I'm ready.
I'm not sure if I ever will be, but regardless, we're going to be loading into Dynasty, where we're here in the top right-hand corner map, spawning all the way. In the top right, we have our red Terran player coming down from the land of Norway, I believe, but also representing the land of Brazil. Going to be representing his team, R8 Esports. We have Kelazhur.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the purple Protoss player representing Team License to Kill LTK. It is Rhizer.
Okay, this is, I believe, Rhizer's pick, as I think he is Seed B in the veto process. So once again, my eyes are glued to our Protoss player. There's a lot of very interesting builds that have been coming out from Dynasty. A lot of interesting ways of going about the gold base specifically. I know a lot of Zerg players are taking the outer position, which on paper seems to be a bit more dangerous. It seems to be a bit more out in the open, but in practice, it's actually somehow safer.
Yeah, I'm curious here with how Rhizer will open up as well. So obviously the big thing about this map, and we're about to see it, is the gold base, and Rhizer going for the gold on the other side. This has become the new norm as of late. The reason for this, if you expand it in the more natural location here, then it can be abused, right? Reaper, Hellion, Marine, whatever you want, as long as it shoots range, it can abuse and deny mining here. Expanding on the other side will keep your mineral line a little bit safer.
It will take a little bit of a lot. It will take a little longer to get units from your main base into your, I don't want to call it the natural base. I don't really want to call it the pocket either. This base.
The gold.
But,
the gold.
Yeah, the gold. But, as Protoss, you can circumvent it a little bit once you finish researching warp tech.
Oh, exactly. That's another important factor, right? Is that these bases are quite spread out, and it can be awkward to defend. But if you have your units in position, if you have some warp pins available, then you can do so. Meanwhile, Kelazhur has yet to confirm. Kelazhur is just now moving out with his Reaper, and will now confirm where exactly the bases are.
Yeah, it's going to be here in the natural. It's not quite going to be at the pocket, but also at the same time will be at the pocket. It's like a fanny pack base.
Excuse me. It's not quite your pocket,
it's
on the
pocket,
outside.
But
Yeah. Okay, I see the logic. You're an animal. But the Reapers do confirm, so Kelazhur's aware. The other bonus to this side of the base as well is the rich vesting gas geyser that is being taken advantage of here by Rhizer. Across the map, Kelazhur did open up double gas. It was a double gas opener into a delayed expansion going into his 1-1-1. And I was curious if we were going to be going Reaper Hellion, but only a couple of Reapers and Hellions were going into a Cyclone instead as we catch out the first Stalker.
Yeah, without Blink, it's a little bit more difficult to kite against Reapers and Hellions. And so you absolutely can try to chase them down. There's a shield battery in this mineral line. Complicates things a little bit when it comes to trying to get probe damage done. Rhizer doesn't lose his probes yet, but Kelazhur doesn't lose his scouting force either. And he's rotating around to that fanny pack base.
Yeah.
I'm committed to it.
Is that what you're going to call it from now on? As the Deep in towards the gold, there's a shield battery, but no units in position. Probes are going down. The first worker at least does fall, but it looks like the rest of the army does rock up. But the Cyclone is here. It has arrived at Kelazhur. He's just abusing Rhizer.
Oh my. Yeah, Rhizer forced to pop that battery overcharge. This can't be how this ends.
Yeah, so you saw the body blocking just not allowing the Adept to ever get close to that overcharge. We have one more Stalker warping in. We focus on the shield battery barely standing, but more probes are going down.
And shield battery is out of energy. Stalker running out of room to kite, but of course this Cyclone cancel kite wherever it wants. Second Cyclone comes in just as the other Cyclone barely survives. Great juggling coming out here from Kelazhur. Is this how this game ends? Please tell me it isn't.
It may
this
just be
a lot of damage.
9 probes go down, barely any mining whatsoever here. Rhizer took a chance to expand at the gold base, but we have been pulled apart left and right, and now we just drop into the main. And here, what is it to defend? Only workers. We have a shield battery, but the overcharge is on cooldown, and with good juggling, we can get even more damage done as we are finally forced out.
Yeah, I think that Cyclone took a little bit too much damage. And Kelazhur will be forced to retreat. He isn't committing to this push, not yet. He is instead macroing up back at home, getting his tech, getting ready for a stim timing once again.
Oh yeah, stim is on the way, building up our Raxes, getting ready for our bio push. We do see a Rhizer going for his tech of choice. We had a Twilight Council into a Dark Shrine of all things. This feels like a bit of a desperation move here for Rhizer. You know, when behind, Dark Shrine.
When behind indeed, and yeah, when you're on even bases and have fewer workers than your Terran opponent in a PvT, you're absolutely behind. There's a chance. I can see, especially since Rhizer does have a gold and a rich Vespine base, so he can try to catch back up, but he is going to have to rely a lot on reciprocating the damage that he already received.
Oh yeah, does have to rely on that, and we'll see what he can get done. Meanwhile, across the map, he's going to try and push into the natural. We have a bunker in position. One Stalker already goes down. Remember, there is no Blink. There is no Twilight Council upgrades to make use of. Rhizer is expanding, taking a third base. I mean, this is all well and good, but can he survive that eventual push? Likewise, is Kelazhur going to be ready for these Dark Templar? He has a Raven.
Scan. He does have a Raven. I'm confused about the scan. I guess maybe he thought he saw an observer here.
Yeah, maybe just assumed there was an observer in position, so was getting ready for it. At the same time, we can see Rhizer setting up to deny a gold that doesn't quite exist, but the pylon was at least spotted.
Yeah, the pylon was spotted, and it will, in theory, ideally anyway, provide a little bit of a fort warp in position. Raven going a little bit too far forward, but will survive in the end. Dark Templar will not finish warping in. And that is going to be game. GG is called. Kelazhur going to be taking that series 2-0. GG, very solid here from Kelazhur.
Yeah, GG, well played. Congratulations, Kelazhur will take the series 2-0. Game 1 was more back and forth on Oceanborn, right? You know, you had Rhizer shutting down the drop and keeping up with the initial pressure and aggression of Kelazhur. But here in Game 2, we tried to clan it up a little bit. We tried to take a risk and go for the gold, but we were punished quite hard. And Kelazhur was looking a lot more dominant or a lot more informed here in that second game.
Yeah, without a doubt. It wasn't just the fact that he was able to take advantage of the quirkier expansion of Rhizer here. It wasn't just the fact that, you know, he had the control to juggle his units and really take it out. But it was also after that, you know, he kind of understood what Rhizer's one path to come back in this game was, right? To counterattack, to go for those ZTs. He was already prepared. He already made a safety bunker, which completely deflected the stalkers and the zealots that Rhizer tried to send across the map. And he was active with his drop. He was able to scout that fort pylon position, was able to send the force to take it out, and then just completely prevent Rhizer from getting anywhere close to his game. So GG, very nicely done from Kelazhur. He's going to be advancing to the next stage of this open bracket to face either Creator or Epic. We don't quite have we don't quite have confirmation on that yet.
Yeah, we're still a little bit in the dark. They are currently in game. I know that much at least. Both Creator and Epic are mid-series, and we might end up jumping in mid-series, or we might just end up casting the winner of that versus Diego Kelazhur in the next round.
Yeah, it all depends on how it comes down. I believe that they are at least in game number 2. Creator and Epic, I mean. So yeah, it's possible that we're just going to jump immediately to our upper bracket semifinal. Liquipedia is back, and that's how...
Yeah.
And with that, I'm able to confirm that we're not quite in our qualifying match yet.
Not quite. We still have plenty more StarCraft ahead of us, and plenty more to come.